LAWA has given me the opportunity to do certain things that I probably would not be able to. Not only does it stand for Latin Americans working for achievement, they definitely put those words to play.
Having received this scholarship and having gone through the process of applying for it, that has given me a new perspective of seeing something that I want and actually having to work to receive the opportunities. I do think that it has, if not completely changed what I want to do with my life, it has at least definitely helped me feel more comfortable with pursuing what I want.
LAWA, when I first started back in 2004, at that time, it was a very strong, one could say very reputable scholarship program. And then as time went on, we started dreaming a little bit, well, what does LAWA mean? How can we have more of an impact on our community? We want to provide a scholarship for our students. We want to meet a need for Latino students in Charlotte, but it's only to be seen the sort of ripple effect that it will have from here on out.
As a first generation college student, I know how my parents struggled in the past. There was at times where our light got cut off just because my dad did not have enough money to pay bills. And if anything, I want my family to move on from being low-income families to being successful and being able to live a life where they're financially free, not being burdened by paycheck to paycheck where they don't have any money to themselves or anything. I want to be able to be the start of getting out of that lifestyle.
As a senior in high school, you feel alone. You feel like, especially if you're first generation, you're the first one to go to college, you get so much pressure. You'll hear that from our scholars, right? I do this for my family. I do this because I want to put the edge off of the financial burden for my family. But what you don't hear is it's so much pressure, right? So much pressure to succeed. Yeah, your family is going to support you, but they don't have the tools. They don't know what FAFSA is. They don't know what it means to apply for a scholarship. And I know that they're thinking, how much is it gonna cost, right? And so we wanted to make sure that we were providing workshops for high school students so they didn't feel so alone doing that.
To me, LAWA means support, and that I have a resource that I can reach out to. One of the ways that it has had an effect is some of the workshops that they've done. There was the recent College Hack series, and so I think that was really helpful, not just for learning about finances or making a resume, but also for connecting with other scholars in the program. Something that I would tell high school students or students looking for other opportunities, especially for LAWA, honestly, just go for it, because there are a lot of opportunities that don't get taken advantage of.
One way LAWA has, impacted me is just taking away a burden of cost, out of my shoulders, allowing me to do other things like be a part of a national honors accounting organization where I've worked my way up. I am now the finance liaison. I'm holding a chair position, and I am a candidate for presidency for the following year, my senior year. I definitely would not have the opportunity that I have now without the scholarship and being, a LAWA scholar. LAWA is just providing me the boost to be better. It's providing me with the opportunity to advance and reach farther than I probably wouldn't have the chance otherwise. That's what LAWA, is to me, an organization that provides, opportunities to those who need them.
I'm so proud to be a part of LAWA because it was founded in 1992. It has withstood a lot of different turbulent times, but we're here to stay. So I hope that our LAWA scholars see that you can do this. You're not the first, you're not the last. We're gonna get you through this together. And so, I really do feel like our vision and our dreams are only gonna get bigger from here. Good afternoon. Buenas tardes. Welcome to LAWA's Celebration for Education 2021. My name is Elizabeth Sturgill, and I am LAWA's board chair. For everyone to know, both Anna and I are vaccinated, and our technical staff is masked and following all safety protocols. As I mentioned, with me here today is LAWA's Executive Director, Ana Rey. We appreciate you tuning in for this 1-hour program designed to recognize and celebrate the success stories of our scholars and to be inspired and support our organization. LAWA's mission is to advance the education and quality of life for Latinos in the Charlotte region through scholarships, as well as academic and cultural programs. This is a team effort. My sincere appreciation to our entire board and staff. Muchísimas gracias a todos. LAWA started to award scholarships in 1992. And since then, more than 280 students have received over $900,000 in college financial assistance. This financial assistance program provides new and renewable aid so that LatinX students can access and complete higher education. Eligibility is based on academic achievement, financial need, and community service. 3 of those students serve on LAWA's board, including myself. I know firsthand what the long-lasting effects of an organization's support can do to a young student, as I was once the recipient of a LAWA scholarship and now leading this wonderful organization. It is because of our generous sponsors, volunteers, and friends that our work continues. Thank you, and thank you.
Thanks for your welcoming remarks, Liz. On today's program, we will hear from renowned author Paul Cuadros, our sustaining partner Francisco Alvarado, LAWA scholar Isaac Turtletop, and LAWA alumna Luisa Agaton, and a very special message from one of LAWA's early founders, Carmen Hilton. Friends, even in the best of times, our students must overcome social, economic, educational, and in some cases, legal obstacles in order to gain access to higher education. These are not the best of times. It is imperative that we continue supporting their dreams and aspirations. It is in that spirit that I encourage you throughout the program to support our organization. Use your phone to text LAWA to 243725 or use the QR code on the screen. Liz mentioned our scholarship program. LAWA has a second program, a high school series, workshops, which provide free bilingual planning workshops and campus tours for high school students and their families to area colleges and universities. Many of these partners also match our scholarship awards. In mid-2020, we successfully transitioned all of our educational programs and fundraising events to virtual platforms in response to the ongoing pandemic. The uninterrupted support of our donors, as well as our college and community partners, made this possible. Topics in the series include high school graduation, college readiness, applications, financial aid, scholarships and internships, support services, bachelor and associate degree programs, and trade and vocational career pathways. As an added result of stress this year, we gave our students supplemented programs with information about campus mental health services. Our LAWA scholars were introduced to a series of online workshops regarding financial literacy, resume writing, lessons in etiquette, and mock interviews. We are determined to provide critical information to our Latinx youth and their families to recognize their potential and make informed decisions about their futures. I sincerely want to thank all of our sponsors, presenters, and the hundreds of volunteers for both programs. We could not do it without you. To thank the audience, we will have several raffles throughout the program. The first raffle is for a basket of wine provided by our board of directors. The winner is Jimena Zambrano. We will make pickup arrangements after the event. Our first speaker today is an award-winning investigative reporter and author whose work has appeared in the New York Times, Times Magazine, and other national and local publications. He is the author of A Home on the Field, How One Championship Team Inspires Hope for the Revival of Small Town America, which tells the story of Siler City, North Carolina, as it copes and struggles with Latino immigration throughout the lives of predominantly Latino high school soccer team. In 2024, the television documentary series Los Jets, based on his book and produced by Jennifer Lopez, premiered on cable television starring Cuadros. He is an associate professor at the School of Media and Journalism at the University of North Carolina. He is also one of the founders of UNC's Carolina LatinX Center, as well as the UNC Scholars Latino Initiative. Cuadros continues to write about immigration and the Latino community in the American South. Paul, we appreciate you being with us today.
Thank you. Am I on? Can you hear me? Yes, is that a yes? Thank you, Anna. I really appreciate you all inviting me to your event, and your organization seems like such a wonderful organization to help our students go on and achieve their dreams. And I applaud you and salute you all for taking on this task, which is such an important task for our youth today. I'm going to share my screen with you if I can. Let's see if that'll do it. Share screen. Select window screen, it says. Let's see if that'll. Well, I'm having trouble actually sharing the screen. 1 second. Let's try that. It looks like my browser can't access this. That's okay. I can talk about things without all that tech media. My name is Paul Cuadros, and I'm an investigative reporter. And I'm also the author of A Home on the Field, and I also star in the television series Los Jets, produced by Jennifer Lopez, and which you can actually see on stream at tubetv.com. Today it's free. You can actually access that. My journey begins with me coming to North Carolina in 1999 to write about the emerging Latino community in the American South. And this was a topic that I tried to pitch to my editors in Washington, where I was working, and nobody was interested in it. Nobody was interested in immigration issues or issues of migration. And but I really saw it as being the most important issue facing the country today. Back in 1997, this was a difficult story to kind of get on the front page. But luckily, I was able to win a fellowship to write about this, to write about emerging Latinx communities in poultry processing towns in the American South. And so I moved to Siler City, North Carolina, which at the time had 2 processing plants, a feed mill, a hatchery, and some 300 chicken farmers, and maybe about 2,000 poultry workers, mostly from Mexico, but many also from Central America. And I was interested in finding out how these particular small southern communities were going to change, how new workers and new families were going to adjust to their new home. And I moved there not knowing anybody, no family, no friends, and just diving into this story for my fellowship. I spent a year working on the fellowship and traveling all over North Carolina, writing about poultry processing communities in Siler City in particular. And as I began to do so, I had never lived in a rural community before. In Siler City, the population of Siler City is about 8,000 to 9,000 people. And I have to confess that I was extremely bored with living in a small town like that. I had lived basically everywhere in the United States. I'd lived in San Diego and Los Angeles and Chicago and Washington, D.C. And so moving to a rural community in North Carolina was very different for me. But one of the things I did to kind of pass the time and just sort of integrate myself in the community was I began to coach soccer. And I began to coach soccer to a group of middle school boys who were all from Mexico, who were the sons of poultry processing workers. And one of the things that I learned was that many of these soccer leagues, and where you guys are in Charlotte, there's huge soccer leagues all over the place. private clubs that train and have games and play on wonderful fields and so forth, that many of our kids were not participating in those types of leagues. And so putting this team together was a unique thing. Many of the boys at the time had never played organized football before. And so this is all very new to them. They had played pickup games, they had played in the streets, and they played in their parks. And of course, they had played with their dads and families, but they never really played on official sort of teams with uniforms and organized practices and play. And so forming a team in a private club in Siler City with these boys, I have to confess that we had instant success on the field wherever we traveled in the Triangle area. But at the same time, wherever we did travel, we also encountered terrible, terrible prejudice for our team. We were a predominantly Latino team, all Latino. Boys in middle school, they were about maybe 13 years old. And we were the only team that looked like us and that behaved like us and had our particular style of game. And wherever we traveled, we encountered resistance to our particular team and the games that we won from predominantly white teams in the Triangle area. One of the things that the boys shared with me was the idea that there was no high school program at Jordan Matthews High School in Siler City at that particular time. And this was like the year 2000, 2001. And I remembered back in my days growing up in Michigan and being on the first soccer team for my high school. It was a very brand new sport back then. And just sort of remembering everything that was involved in creating a program like that. And I decided to do something that many journalists don't do, which is I decided to get involved in this particular issue and take up the cause of these boys. And that's exactly what I did. I began to petition the school to form a program. I went out into the community and was able to raise funds for new uniforms. I was able to raise funds for goals and raise funds for all the equipment that we needed, and actually found many boys that wanted to play and that signed up to play for this program. And so when I ended up going to the principal and saying, hey, we have all this equipment, we have a list of boys that want to play and are eligible to play, and we have uniforms, we got everything set for the program. Will you start this program now? And his response was no, that the school wasn't ready for this. And so that's when I realized that despite kind of like doing all these efforts, that the answer was always going to be no from this particular school. And the reason for that was that Siler City was a community in change. It had gone from essentially 1% Latino in 1990 to, at that time, about 30% Latino. The high school's Latino population was also increasing. And there was this sense of cultural change fatigue in the community, that the longtime residents, especially the white residents, felt that they were losing part of their culture and part of their community. And they had decided that they were going to draw a line right down the middle of the football field and not let soccer come in as a sport. Well, I don't really like to take no for an answer. And so I ended up petitioning and working with county commissioners and school board members to circumnavigate around the principal. And eventually we did get a team started in the year 2002. And we had instant success. I began to coach the team, and the boys, I think for the first time, began to embrace the idea that this was their home as well, that this was not only their home, but this was their school, and that they could wear the colors of their school and represent their school and community as Jets. And that was an amazing period for us. We had instant success. And if you haven't read my book, A Home in the Field, go out and get it. You can still find it on Amazon.com and all over the place. It's a great story as to the creation of this team and as to all the things that Siler City went through in the early part of the turn of the century as the migration really began to hit this community. We do go on to the state championship, and these boys find tremendous success on the field, but also off the field as well. And these kids were also greatly challenged by the lack of status that they had, immigration status that they had at that time. Since that time, since 2004 in our run to the state championship, and I'm sorry I can't show you these pictures because they're fabulous, but you can just Google Los Jets and you'll find a bunch of stuff on it. We were the first predominantly Latino team to win a state championship, and I think that that's true for the entire American South. Boys who had crossed the border by themselves, in some cases, rejoined family members in their community, were able to lift up a trophy in triumph and sort of change the narrative and the image around themselves that was being portrayed at the time by community members and by the media as well, that, you know, they were troublemakers or that they were outside the law. But this particular story showed that they could actually be champions as well, that they could have success if you gave them a level playing field and allowed them to succeed and excel. After that, I stayed on and coached, and I'm still coaching today. I'm still coaching the Jets today in Siler City. And that's been a wonderful experience for me. But aside from that, I realized that many of our kids were not going on to higher education. And so I got involved with a professor at UNC Chapel Hill. And together we helped to create a program called the Scholars Latino Initiative. And this initiative did a couple of things. One, we raised scholarship money to afford higher education for kids who were undocumented or didn't have papers. And we also provided scholarships for kids who did. And we also provided a mentoring program with students from UNC who would mentor and help to shepherd high school students in their sophomore year over 3 years and really guide them through the application process for higher education. That particular program was a huge success at Carolina, and we were able to send dozens of kids onto higher education and raise hundreds of thousands of dollars, and if not millions of dollars in in-kind contributions and deals that we made with various universities around the country. The program has since shifted and changed into something now called the UNC LatinX ED, and it's headed by our executive director, Ricky Hurtado, who is now one of our newest representatives in the state legislature. And Ricky is from Alamance County, and that's the district that he now represents. And LatinX ED is now embedded within our School of Education, and it continues to do this type of mentoring work to help kids navigate high school, help their parents navigate high school, and also go on to apply to higher education as well. You can find more information on that just by Googling LatinX ED and UNC. Since that time, of course, I ended up doing this television series called Los Jets, which was developed by Jennifer Lopez and her production company and displayed on her cable channel, Fuse TV. And you can find that today. It's a wonderful accompaniment to A Home on the Field, the book, or the Spanish version, which is called Un Juego Sin Fronteras. And that you can find on 2btv.com, since I can't show you the clips right now. But it's been a wonderful experience to be able to be involved in the success of these boys and girls. There is a girls soccer team as well at JM, and to help them navigate the American education system and move them on into higher education. Today, the boys on the team today are very different from the boys that I first started coaching back in 2002. Back then, all of them were first generation immigrants, many of them with complicated immigration status. Today, that's not necessarily true. Today, I coach all in English, and many of them have been born in Siler City. And Siler City has been through so many changes that reflect the changes that our country has been going through as well. This is a community, like I said, was maybe 1% Latino back in 1990, and today is more than 50% Latino and is a majority Latinx community today. One of the big challenges that we face in Siler City is the lack of representation in local government, and that's an emerging issue that's going to come to the fore more and more as our community develops and grows in North Carolina, in the South, and in the rest of the United States. I like to say that Siler City is really a microcosm of what's happening in the U.S. today with regard to migration or immigration and the Latino community. As our numbers increase and our percentage of the population increases, that we're going through an adjustment period of changing demographics because of our community, directly responsible because of our community. And many of the anxiety that we feel and see politically and socially in all facets of life today and in our institutions is due to this demographic change. But I'm very hopeful that even though it seems like things are difficult today, that we can get to a place of acceptance and integration, and that we can all come together and achieve the dreams that we want to achieve. I think that's about the rest of my time for today. I want to congratulate you all on such a wonderful program and the important work that you're doing, and the important work that you're supporting in supporting our kids going on to higher education and achieving their dreams. This is such an important cause. As our community grows, we want our kids to develop. We want them to go on and become doctors and lawyers and representatives and embrace the full things that the United States can offer. And your support is so important in doing that. So I salute you all for doing it. And I say, let's go Jets, and good luck. And I'm wishing you all the best.
So much for your remarks and insight, Paul. We appreciate you being with us today.
No
Our
problem.
raffle winner will receive a copy of your book.
Oh.
Congratulations, Logan Long. Thank you. We also have a gift basket, and the winner is Wilton Connor. Congratulations, Wilton. Our next speaker is Isaac Turtletop. Isaac is an outstanding student receiving a Moran Scholarship. He is studying engineering at NC State. Ladies and gentlemen, damas y caballeros, Isaac Turtletop.
Well, thank you for the introduction, Anna. Well, hi, everyone. My name is Isaac. I'm currently attending NC State, where I'm majoring in computer engineering, and I'm having a minor in physics as well. I've been a LAWA Scholar since 2017, and I can't describe how much this scholarship means to me. The support that I've received from LAWA and Moran Builders has been absolutely amazing. You know, things can get pretty difficult during school, but nothing is more motivating than knowing you have a strong support network behind you. I also had the opportunity to intern at Moran Builders in the summer of 2018. I was given the task of maintaining a job site for about 6 weeks, where I learned life lessons that I lean on to this day. As you may know, Moran Builders is run by the Alvarado family. They have always supported me to the utmost extent, and I have been extremely lucky and proud to have been able to represent them these last 4 years. It is now my pleasure to introduce the president and CEO of Moran Builders, Francisco Alvarado.
Am I on? I hope so. Isaac, wow, we are so proud of you, absolutely. And you are a good example of why we have a scholarship, why we have Moran Scholarship. $60,000 to $90,000, $60 a $90,000. That's the starting salary of an engineer, depending on the discipline you study. Ese es el salario de que gana un ingeniero acabado de graduarse. That's with 22, 23 years of age. So what can you do with this money? I think one of the greatest things is basically move out of your parents' house. You know, in addition, you can also rent an apartment, get a house, get a car, be able to travel, be able to help your family without having economical troubles yourself. You can start building wealth. And that is one of the things that is very important that we all Latinos have to do. Learn how to build wealth. I'm going to tell a little bit about myself. I grew up in El Salvador, Central America. My parents sent me to a German school where I went there from kindergarten through high school. I hated the school. You know, it was very German, very disciplined. You know, it was not a nice, comfy type of environment. After I graduated from there, you know, my first language was Spanish. My second language was German. My third language was English. So, and I was ready to go to college. So my parents told me, you will pay for your college as long as you study either business, medicine, or engineering. So I was not a great math student. Nevertheless, I even was worse, a reader. So I decided to go into engineering. So I came to Louisiana State University, where I graduated with an electrical engineering degree. As you all know, LSU is known as the Harvard of the South. So, and then I started in the professional world over there. My first job was with a German company. Can you imagine that? Then all of a sudden, you know, the German that I had some meaning. And my parents, again, many times we think parents are dumb, and they are not that dumb when they force you to do certain things. So I started to work as an engineer for this chemical German company. For 3 years, I worked as an engineer, and then they asked me if I wanted to move to Germany to move to executive training. And why this happened is because of my performance as well as my German. So, and let me tell you a little anecdote on that. Because when they hire, you know, me, they hired some other engineers at the same time. There were some mechanical engineers, chemical engineers. And one time we having some drinks and stuff like that. And one of the mechanical engineers told me, hey, you know what? And I said, yeah, what? You're not going to go far in this company. And I said, well, why you tell me this? Why? Why is that? I said, because you speak English with an accent. And I had to internalize this. And then all of a sudden I said, my gosh, I do speak English with an accent, but I speak German and Spanish, and you don't. You're monolingual. So there you go. So I went to Germany for 8 years. I ran businesses worldwide for Höchst. There's a company I used to work for. And then after 8 years, both of my boys were born in Germany, and the wife is from Jersey. So we came back to United States, actually to Charlotte. That's where our headquarters for the Americas were. So we came here to Charlotte, and after 2 years, I was kind of burned out of a corporate world. So I decided, look, you know, I've been very successful for working for a corporation in different continents in the world. Let me try something on my own. I never thought in my wildest dreams that I was going to be in construction, because I had never done that before. But where we were living here in Charlotte, there was a lot of construction going on in the area. So I got the opportunity to talk to a lot of the subcontractors. I was able to speak Spanish with them and stuff. And then I saw an opportunity there. And I never done construction. Nevertheless, I'm an engineer. I speak Spanish. And also, I know how to run businesses. So I started Moran Builders. And by the way, the name Moran doesn't have to do with my last name or anything. What it actually is the three letters of both of my sons, Marcelo and Andres. The first three letters, and I put them together. That's where Moran comes from. So I started. It was a company of one. I had to work for years, every day, really 12 hours a day. And I knew that I had to do this in order to bring a business from the ground up. And that is a completely different experience from managing a business that is already running than one that is really you're starting from the ground up. So I went ahead and put all my energy behind it. And now we are a company that we have 130 employees. We have 6 offices throughout, and we serve from Maryland, all the way south to Florida and Texas. So this has been, quite a wild ride, and it's really important to know that the engineering gave me the base for me to grow and do different things. So if I might just, could you show, I want to show you a picture. I was last week down in El Salvador. I was visiting my 100-year-old mother. And it was absolutely great to be able to hold her hand and just think about the sacrifices that she made for me to come to United States. Okay, so just holding her hand was really thinking about the values that I received from my family. And that is what's really, really important for me. And those are the values that have guided me in my life. Those are the values that I use to grow and promote Milan. And the values are very simple. The values of respect. Be respectful for everyone. Even though you have different ideas, that's fine. You got to respect each other. Be resilient. Work hard. Many times it doesn't happen the first time. You got to stay on top of it. You got to make it happen. Find a way to happen. Then do the right thing. Do the right thing, especially when nobody's looking at it, because you have the little voice behind you and you know if you're doing the right thing or not. So listen to that voice and do it the right thing the first time so you don't have to come back and do it again. Be open-minded. There's always space to learn. There's always space that you can grow your experiences in this world and in life. And do all this with a smile and a positive attitude, because that is incredibly contagious. So go ahead and make sure that you do that. But an additional one that you have to think about is that do what you say you're going to do. And if you can't say it, if you can't do it, say it also, that you can't do it. And that's one of the biggest problems that we have as Latinos when I start working in the world. One of the things, the answer that we can never get is a no. And sometimes that's the right answer. So let's not lose any trust. If you say something, be responsible and make it happen. I encourage you all to go ahead and make sure that you define those values, the values that come from your parents. You know, first, I'm a first-generation American, so I had to go back and think about it, all this different values of hard work and everything that your parents had taught you, and also you catch some along the way also. So I encourage you to do that because they're going to be the guiding beacon as you move in life and in business. 4 years ago, we started to work with LAWA. And we wanted to find an organization that not only just pass along the scholarship, but also mentor the kids in high school as well throughout college. So we started the partnership. We started with $10,000. Then we went the next year, $20,000. We have continued to grow until last year's $50,000, and this year we're going to be another $50,000. Plus, this year is going to be the first fundraiser that we're going to have for the scholarship. We're going to have in October. We're going to have a clay shooting tournament, so that we're going to need the help of some of the students, and then we're going to invite a lot of people. Hopefully, all this money is going to be able to translate into more scholarships. But then probably you ask yourself, why technical careers? And I go back to say to you, so listen to some of the students, some of the students, you want to be able to grow, you get out of poverty, you want to really grow. This is the closest sure thing you can get. 60 to 90,000. That's what you're going to start making. So that is a huge step, salary-wise. Also, the demand. There's not that many kids that want to study technical careers. Especially when we started the scholarship, we wanted to have only for women, but we didn't get enough women to do that. And the reason that I wanted to get it for women is because we need women in the technical world. They are some of the best ones with the best grades in high school, and then they go and study some other things. They don't use all the capacity that they have and they're wonderful. We have women in our company, and they're excellent. Not disregarding the men, but of course, but they have other talents, and it's important to do that. So I encourage girls, women to really think about the potential that you can really have and discover if you go into the technical careers. As I mentioned earlier before, engineering is a great base career. You can continue growing into the engineering, go into the technical world, but if not, regardless what you do, you go into law, you go into medicine, you go into construction, you want to do business, you want to do everything. The engineering degree teach you how to think, how to approach different issues that you might find in the world. So I encourage you again, to think about a technical career. And then, after you already are an engineer, you can do whatever you want. For example, for me, in addition of working and everything else, I like to paint. Those paintings behind me are mine. So I paint with an engineer's salary, not painting with an artist's salary, because it's a little bit different scale, unless you're major famous, unless after you're dead. So, but we all have to go with open eyes. Engineering is hard work. Hard work for 4 years, they're going to determine the rest of your life. That is something that you have to put in perspective. For 4 years, you're going to have to work hard. Especially, I had to work even harder because I wasn't that good in math, and I wasn't, I was a solid 2.3, so a GPA. But then again, I had to work hard. Some other guys didn't have to do that. That was much easier for them. But I had to work very hard. But that is important that you realize that the investment that you do early on in life will pay off. And as I said to you, is closest to the surest thing you can get. With a salary band that engineers or technical careers, even electricians, plumbers, all those, they may start making, the high school diploma, you go in those trades, you start making $60,000 very, very, very quickly. So I would like to definitely for you to think about that. In closing, I just want to say thank you to Anna Ray. She's an incredible leader that has brought LAWA, much, much farther than in the past, has grown a lot. And I think I'm very proud of that organization. Also, all the LAWA staff that manages and and volunteers that manages all the scholarships and work very hard to make sure that all the kids are taken care of. And at the end, I want to congratulate you because of the fact that you're doing a great work for the community, for the LatinX, as well as the community in general and in Charlotte. So thank you very much for the opportunity to address you.
Señor Alvarado, thank you for your beautiful and motivational remarks. That message that you sent was so impactful. I love those paintings behind you. Shout out to you for mentioning that to us, and of course, just saying how it's all about balance. Life is definitely a balance. So thank you for that remarkable speech. On behalf of LAWA and all the students you have supported, you have our sincere appreciation. You and your family have been stellar LAWA supporters, and I'm so glad that Isaac has benefited from the Moran Scholarship Fund. We wish you the best, Isaac. All right, so we have one more student that will speak to us today. But before I introduce her, we have another raffle for another wine basket provided by our board. And the winner is Clarissa Barbosa. Okay, so I met our next speaker and LAWA alumna many years back when she had recently graduated from college and started working for LAWA. It is my pleasure to introduce my friend, Luisa Agathon.
Thank you, Liz. It's so great to see you all. It's great to be close to home, being in Florida now. Good afternoon. My name is Luisa Agathon, and I was a LAWA Scholar from 2006 to 2010 when I graduated from Queen's University with a degree in Human and Community Services. And LAWA has followed me along through my journey. After school, I went and actually worked with the organization as a program coordinator. I helped implement programs such as Padres y Padrinos and high school series, which was very close and near to my heart, as I was able to see the resources through a full circle lens. I was able to see how workshops were educational not only to the students but to the parents. We were providing scholarships, and then we were also asking our students, our scholars, to become tutors to those young ones coming up the pipeline. So after that, I had a great time there, had worked along many wonderful women that continued to follow and founded LAWA, and I decided that I needed to venture out and do something else. So I went back to school. I obtained a master's degree in public administration from the University of UNC Chapel Hill. And I decided to explore the public sector and went into local government. And I am now serving as a senior assistant to the city manager here in the city of Fort Lauderdale. LAWA is near and dear to my heart, not only from an educational perspective, but it also helped boost my professional career. So thank you all, ladies, for the great, and gentlemen, for the great support that you have provided me and other scholars throughout these years. And with that, I will make an introduction to a woman that needs no introduction. She is dynamic, she's a founder, and she is an endless cheerleader for educational causes. Carmen Hilton, un gusto. It's now your turn.
Thank you, Anna, and thank you, dear Luisa, for this nice introduction. Yes, I said dear, because Luisa is very close to my heart. I met her when she first came to LAWA. She was young, intelligent, eager to make a difference, and she became a friend of LAWA forever. I joined LAWA just after it was founded by Cecilia Montero, its first chair. Sarah Wolf was the second chair, and I was the third. LAWA has grown since those days in 1992. We started with just one scholarship, then two, each just $500. But the enthusiasm of the students has always been remarkable. I remember vividly the words of one of the LAWA scholarship recipients who said, "My gratitude to LAWA is huge, and I hope in the future, when I finish my studies, I will be able to return to LAWA as much as LAWA has given to me." I was really moved by these words, which have proved true, as seen by the majority of the scholarship awardees who are returning to LAWA their support in many ways. It has been a richness today to hear the presentation by our winning author, Paul Cuadros. Reading his book, A Home on the Field, I have learned in detail the great difficulties the Mexican immigrants encounter. But especially, I learned the wonderful results of a person can make working with a team as a good tool to make a huge difference in a community. It was fantastic. In closing, I want to mention the impressive list of LAWA sponsors, not only for the large number, but for the fact they are well-known and important companies in our society. My deepest thanks with all my heart. Thank you.
Carmen, it's always inspiring to hear from you. Thank you for encouraging us to be better. I know that knowing you has been a blessing, and we all appreciate it. I want to also thank Luisa Agaton, because when I first came into LAWA, she was part of it already, and I know that her encouragement means the world to me. Again, let me remind you how easy it is to support our organization. If you're inclined, please use your phone to text LAWA to 243725 or use the QR code on the screen by pointing your camera at the screen, and it will link you to PayPal. I want to thank again Paul, Isaac, Francisco, Carmen, and Luisa for their wonderful remarks on this day's event.
All right. And as we wrap up, we have one last gift basket to raffle off. But before we go, don't forget to visit our website, lawanc.org, to learn more about our programs, ways to be involved, and our contact information. Stay tuned for our events coming in the fall and the new schedule of high school series workshops. And now, the winner of our last basket that we'll be raffling off today is Diani Popoca. Yay! Congrats to all of our raffle winners today. And on behalf of our students, board, and staff, we want to thank you for participating in today's event. Gracias a todos y que pasen un lindo día.
Gracias.